Hi there. It's me. It's Shannon. It's Sheepless Needles. Pull up a chair, grab a project, let's hang out. But first, two very important things to do. The first is to release the hounds. Second would be, let's crack open a beer and get into it for the week. So, I think I put my glasses away and I can't really read this. Hold the line. Here's the sad thing, guys. This episode is brought to you by M for Menopause. For Menopause. We'll get into that later. Oh, I can see. Oh my God. Okay, so this is Dragon's Milk Reserve. It is rye barrel aged stout with cinnamon, toasted chilies, and vanilla extract. New Holland Brewery. It is 11.8. Yes. Okay. So let's crack this baby open. I hope you pulled up a chair by now and grabbed your project. And just, oh, Lebo just totally fell asleep. Good God, those bunnies are cute. So let's just do the disclaimer, right? So hi, it's me. Whoa, where am I? Where's my camera? Oh, you guys. Okay, so disclaimer. Bunnies in the background. There are 6 of them. 3 of them are geriatric in our senior ward. They are behind the X-Pen on the floor. One of them has head tilt. He is fine, but he looks a little strange. He just does things a little differently than other bunnies. He is with his partners Nano. And so Harvey is the one with head tilt. He is with Nano and his brother Orwell. Nano is the white lop-eared bunny right here. And Harvey is laying down next to her. One ear just ran in. As you can see, he has one ear, you know, really in-depth naming of him. He loves Nano, but he gets a little over amorous with his teeth, I guess is what I would say. So we can't really let them all be together yet until see, he just did it, until one ear dials it back a notch. So anyway, bunnies are fine. Cats are fine. I have no cats down here with me as of yet, but I'm sure that will change. Okay, disclaimer over. I have not tried this beer yet. Here we go. I'm just going to be staring at my monitor because the bunnies are being really cute. Hold on. Probably should have done that earlier. This is a shit show already. Oh, good gravy, you guys. Okay. All right. I hope you guys have had a wonderful 2 weeks. It has been, I think, it's just been a hard 2 weeks. No ifs, and or buts about it in terms of world events. My work has been a little bit stressful, so I'm a little bit loopy today, and that's okay because it's Saturday. It's my day off, and I don't give a chicha. So I really like this beer. It is very good. Very heavy, I will say, on the cinnamon. Cinnamon? Cinnamon. My God, that sounded weird coming out of my mouth. What is happening? Okay, so let's just talk about the finished project in the room. What? You guys. Okay, so Shawlography 2021. Most normal human beings had this baby done at the end of October, beginning of November. This girl, not so much. So let's show it to you. Let's wheel it on back. Okay, so you guys. Now, I hope you guys can hear me okay. I used 100% Tencil yarn, fingering weight, 5 colors. There's a lot going on in this pattern. Excuse the chicha there. Okay, I thought we're going to just get into everything that's going on right now. So as you look at this, section 1 is this little white cast on part here. Section 2 are these pie wedges, right, that you cycle through a dominant color with the other colors behind. Section 3, if I can get to it, are these kind of stripes with a gold overlay right through here, like triangles, I guess. Sorry, the mic is in a really weird position to show you this, and I'll probably set this down on a flat surface so you can really see the detail. Okay, so from that section, you moved into what everyone calls the yarn shrimps, which are these black little I-cord tabs. And we'll just keep moving. And then you move into kind of a slip stitch pattern. Then you move into triangles. Oh, before the triangles, you move into welts. Can you see that? And then triangles, and then bobbles. And then what is supposed to be brioche. And then these little crosses in the gold to the border. The border of a gazillion stripes. Now, here's the thing. Do I love this? If it was 1980 Chicha, I would be so down with this. Hence my makeup. I tried to recreate what I looked like in the 80s. I went to a lot of clubs. We did a lot of dancing. So anyway, this is my homage because this palette is very much the 80s. And I thought, what a better way than to try to recreate my makeup look from the 80s. And this was pretty standard. I think I even had heavier eyeshadow. And the other thing I did that I wasn't able to do today is I used to white out. I didn't know about gluing down my eyebrows back then. But I used to try to blank out so it didn't look like I had eyebrows. And I never thought about shaving them off, which now I'm like, why didn't I just shave them off? I don't know. So I would use like a really pale pearlescent eyeshadow and, you know, and I never wore blush. I never contoured. That was not happening. So I would have a really pale face, very smoky a lot, and then hair. Yeah. So this is the closest that I could get to it. So anyone who knew me from the 80s, I think I kind of nailed it, but I don't really know because, you know, I kind of remember, kind of don't remember, and I don't have a photograph to look at. So you just let me know. You let me know and go, Shannon, yes, that was 1987. So anyway, that's my homage of the day. 1987 with my beautiful Shawlography shawl. I didn't say who it was by. It's Stephen West. This was his mystery knit along. Like I said, from October of 2021, it took me forever to finish it. I am so proud of myself that I did finish it. And I will say that it felt much better to me after blocking. The Tencil is obviously very drapey. If I had known what the pattern was prior to knitting it, like if I had peeked at it before I picked my palette, I think I would have done things very differently. But that's kind of the beauty of a mystery knit along. You kind of don't know what you're going to get until you're there, right? So in this case, I think the actual pattern really reminds me of 1970s. I think I would have picked a much more earth-toned palette with avocado green, you know, rust and brown, or gone extremely opposite and done like either like a lemon yellow with a bright teal. Like I think I would have played up the circus factor a little bit more after seeing the pattern. Do I think it was the right color palette for the pattern? I don't know that there's a right or wrong color palette. I think, what you doing, buddy? I think it is not what wouldn't have been my choice for this, but it's here and I'm good. You know, it is what it is. It's a very 1980s. It's very fall. It's very turkey tail. Would have I picked Tencil yarn? No. I think that I still would have wanted a drapey yarn. I definitely would not have done this out of 100% cotton. No way. Wouldn't have done linen either because you would have lost all the stitch definition. I think this is one that I would do. If you want to knit this, first of all, do I recommend it? Oh, I don't know how to answer that. If you want to knit it out of an acrylic blend for sure. Like an acrylic cotton would be fine. Even, yeah, I would do it in acrylic cotton. I think that would give you the stitch definition you would need. It would hold the brioche up, and you would see some of the details a little bit better than you will with a really drapey Tencil. That being said, I really like the drapiness of this. And yeah, so it is what it is. Would I recommend it? Let me go back to that little question I asked. If you are someone who likes a challenge or likes to learn new techniques, 100% I would recommend it. I think that Steven's patterns, like I know him, Mr. West's patterns, you are always learning something new. You learn new things. So like on this one, I had never done welts. I've talked about that before. I've never done bobbles. I learned a lot of techniques. And I think that I would never tell someone to shy away from a Steven West pattern. They always look more difficult than they are, without a doubt. But they're just they're not so much hard as they are time consuming. Like you will lose a chunk of your life that you will not get back. And if you're okay with that and you want to learn some new techniques in a really cool way, oh my God, 100% do the patterns. And he's got so many great patterns out there. And this is just one of them. I think I'm a little frightened because with every mystery knit along that he does, and I think he's done like 10, somebody tell me in the comments, something around there, right? They get a little bit more intricate every year. And I just don't know where you go from here. Like, I feel like I want them to be dialed back a little bit. I don't know what that means though. And I'm not, you know what? It's not my job to tell it. First of all, he should design whatever the hell he wants. He's not listening to me, and nor should he. It just frightens me because I think once you get to a certain level of like trying to one up your year before, at some point you're not going to be able to. And that's just the reality. And I think there was a lot of commentary online that, I shouldn't say that. I'm going to retract that. What I noticed is all of the vlogs and blogs and knitting people I follow, whether it's on Ravelry, Instagram, or YouTube, none of them said they would knit it again. Would I knit this again? No. No, because I'm going to have like trauma as I'm knitting it, remembering the trauma that I had knitting this. There are plenty of mistakes in it that I think I hid pretty well. And again, those are design elements. I know they're not mistakes, whatever. You know, I love it. I will wear it. It just makes me giggle a little bit because it reminds me of 1987. So that's where we're at. Oh, that was a mouthful. So explanation of makeup and chicha, and there you go. Okay, so I don't know when the last time I showed you this was. So I kind of stopped what I was working on and finished this. And I think the last time you saw it, I think I had 29 more stripes to do. So that's what I did for the past basically week. And let me just tell you something. I forgot. And shout out to all you who never changed from fingering weight yarn. I don't know how your knuckles and your wrists deal with that. My hands feel really like tight, like they need to be stretched after working with this as much as I did over the past week. Dudes, it takes a toll. Okay, so what I was working on and what I'm continuing to work on is my soft tee, which is by Petra Breakstone. It was a kit that I bought. It was the first time I'd ever bought a kit. So first time for everything, right? All right, I'm going to try to show you this without knocking into the microphone and not knocking the project off my needles, which is a little difficult. All right, so it's knit bottom up. I am using a linen yarn. It's fingering weight. And let me see if I can stretch this out. So there is a lace panel, as you can see, that runs the center of the back and the front of the tee. Now, I can't really, all right, so that, it's hard to show you guys this. I will lay it down and maybe be able to show it. I have it on a smaller circumference cord, and it makes it hard to kind of stretch it out so you can see it. This is the first garment that I've done that's bottom up. So I don't know how long I want it to be because I know it's going to be a looser fit. So I don't think it needs to be super long. In fact, I'm okay with it being like right at my hip line and maybe wearing a tank top underneath it. But what I decided is that I don't really like the sleeves on the pattern. They're very... Listen, they look great. Like if you go to the project page and look at the photos of people who've done it, they look super cute on everyone. They're just not my style. So I think I'm just actually going to do this as a tank, but a tank with kind of like a wider, you know what I'm saying? Like a wider shoulder, not like a little skinny or a spaghetti. I'm not going to do that. And I think I'll wear it more that way. The sleeves are super cute in the pattern. They're just not for me. And then here's the yarn that came with it. Again, it's linen, steel gray. Pattern's really well written, you guys. And it's really enjoyable knitting. And actually the lace detail is the repeat is super easy to memorize. So once you have it down, you just keep going and don't worry about it. So this is really good knitting just if you're like doing what I'm doing, which is getting caught up on Blacklist. And I think now I'm on season 4 or 5. That's much Blacklist I've been watching, guys. I love James Spader. Again, 1980s, James Spader. Come on. So anyway, so I've been working on that. It's living, you've seen my little bag before. It's my Katie Did tarot bag. I actually also ordered, and I don't have it yet. I pre-ordered, and I'm very excited for it. So when it gets here, I'll show it to you. But there is a wonderful woman out of, I think she's in Indianapolis, and her podcast is called The Fat Squirrel Speaks, I think is what it's called. I love her. She does a lot of like sewing and quilting and knitting. She kind of does a lot of things, but she also makes project bags, and she has 2 designs that just came out, and it's called Bird Watching. And one of the fabrics for the bag is just like different birds. And the other is this kind of like graphic, it looks like an eyeball. So it's like bird watching. So I ordered the sweater bag in the birds. And she has 2 different sweater bags. One is Aran weight, so it's a much larger bag. And then one is like probably just for a standard sweater. And I got the standard one. I'm not sure when she wraps up the pre-orders. I want to say she starts making them in April. So whenever I get it, I will show it to you guys because I'm super stoked about it. And the reason why I ordered it was I don't really have a great project bag for larger projects. I have these smaller bags, and I like repurpose stuff that I've gotten, you know, when they ship yarn, sometimes they put them in like bags. I always reuse those, but sometimes once you really get going on the project and you need more yarn in your bag and you've got a sizable chunk done, it gets a little bit tight in there. So I just wanted a bigger bag. So because I have 2 future sweaters planned, and yes, I know, Shannon, you have 3 sweaters on your needles. One is in timeout for a very long time. The other, you need to remember what you're doing with your sleeves. And the other, you actually just need to kind of just do it. So, but anyway, there are 2 other patterns that I'm going to be doing. One is the Dustlin Sweater by Stephen West. And I actually, hang on, I'm going to roll the other way. I'm such a dork. I'm going to roll and show you the yarn. Hang on. For the Dustlin Sweater, it is a patterned sweater. So it's not just like stockinette. It's super cute. I'll have Steve put a picture up over here. Dustlin Sweater, Stephen West on Ravelry or on his website. I am going to be using, it's worsted or DK. I'm going to be using, again, my favorite acrylic, which is Premier Anti-Pilling Everyday Worsted. And I picked, it's a single color sweater, but I'll tell you what I'm doing. I picked 2 colors. They are not reading very well in this light. But one is more of a Loden green, and this is kind of like a marine blue. I'm going to use the marine blue on the collar, the cuffs, and the ribbing at the bottom hem. And then this will be the body. Because it's me, and why would I do something normally? So I have all of this purchased and ready to go. Let's see here. And then the other one, oh, you guys. Okay, and I will have Steve put a photo up here. Is called The Witching Hour, and I want to say, I can't remember the pattern designer's name, and I don't want to butcher it because I'm going to say Caitlin Hunter, and I don't think that's who it is. So I will have Steve put the pattern and then the name here. And what I did is I went ahead and purchased the yarn for that. Again, I'm going to do 100% cotton on this because I wanted the stitch definition. I may regret it. I don't know. We'll see. But I did Cotton Sprout by Premier. So the main color is going to be black. And then the other color is going to be hunter green. So I thought that would be pretty, right? Now, I don't know when these are going on my needles. Like I said, I've got 2 other sweaters I need to do something about. I'm not going to talk about the Andrew and Mallory situation because that's just going away for a while because I really want to stew on. I may frog that completely. I haven't decided. But I also know that these are the Witching Hour I've wanted to do for almost a year now. And I'm like, you know what? I might as well just put it on needles and work on it here and there. I may not show it to you guys for a very long time, but just so you know, I'll throw the project up on Ravelry. So if you want to follow the progress on that, you can. If I make sizable project on either one, if I make sizable progress on either one, it'll show up in a podcast for sure. Let me know if if anyone has knit either one of these yet. The Dustland, I think, is a fairly new pattern. The Witching Hour is not a new pattern at all. And it's kind of like a swancho almost. And that's kind of what I gravitate towards. I love things that are like that. So, and I'm torn on the Witching Hour whether I want to do a small medium or a medium large. I think I'm actually going to do the small medium, and I hope I don't regret it, because bringing it back to the letter M. What's going on back there? Someone was saying something. Menopause. Yeah. What's up with the weight gain for no reason that just doesn't go away? And can we talk about the fact that I'm not having hot flashes? I'm having cold flashes where my feet and my hands literally turn into ice cubes. My tips of my finger, everything turns white. My lips turn blue. My knees will knock. I'm frozen constantly. This is bullshit. I did not go through years and years and years of a monthly visitor to have this dumped in my lap. Give me a friggin' break. So all you ladies out there who are post-menopause, pre-menopause, perimenopause, menopausal, hats off to you. I'm here. I'm going to make it through this just like I should, but it sucks. Just let's get it over with. Good God, rip the Band-Aid off. Hi. Okay, so April. In the Ravelry Vegan Knitting and Crochet group, there's an April knit along. It's a shawl along, and you can just pick any pattern you want. We're not telling you anything. We're just saying knit a damn shawl. So that's what I'm doing. I picked, oh shit, Lisa Munch. Oh, good God. Okay, so picture. The pattern is called Nightshade. I know her first name is Lisa. I know her last name, again, sponsored by the letter M, starts with an M. I will have him put it right here. I think it's Lisa Mutch. Mutch? Something like that. It's a great pattern. And when you see the photo, I really, really, really resonated just with, I don't know why, but I just thought that needs to be done in like a Cotlin or like a hemp. I don't know why I felt that. So I went ahead and bought and received from Knit Picks, Cotlin, which is their, hang on, where did I put my glasses? You guys, what am I, senile? What is happening? Ugh. Good Lord. These glasses are like fucking huge on me. Oh, sorry, Steve. You could just beep that right out. Okay, it is 70% tanguis. Tanguis. Help me out, internet. 70% of that and 30% linen. This is a sport weight. And I just thought, I'm going to hit the microphone. But when you look at the yarn, it just has a more rustic. It's not a super clean yarn. And I thought that would lend itself to the pattern. And this is my palette. Hang on, this is very hard to do. Okay, so linen is on the far right, Wallaby is the center, and black is on the left. So I think in terms of the pattern, when you look at it, it'll go like that. We are casting on. Okay, somebody from the group, if you need to throw this in the comments, please totally do. But I think we're doing a knit along Zoom call on the 3rd of April, and that's our cast on. If I'm wrong, let me know. I'll try to link it in the show notes. But so that's what I'm going to be doing. I have not done a swatch yet, and honestly, I don't think I'm going to. It's a friggin' shawl. You know, how bad could it be? Famous last words. Okay, so that's what I've got upcoming. I'm wearing what I finished. Oh, good Lord. So I've gotten a lot in the mail. So you've seen some of the yarn. I'm looking over there because I don't want to, the stack of sweater yarn over there is insane. But let's talk about what else I've gotten. And Knit Picks, I had to do a second order for Knit Picks because I did not order enough on the beginning. So I got more for the shawl. But what I also got, in case you thought I forgot, I did not. Hang on. Is that all I got? No, there it is. Okay. I have not forgotten any things I've committed to knitting, and one of which was the Garfunkel cowl, which I'm going to be doing in April as well, alongside the shawl. And I actually like the two together in terms of projects, but I'm going to be using Knit Picks Comfy Worsted Weight for the Garfunkel. This is 100%. No, I'm already lying. Shocking. 75% Pima cotton, 25% acrylic. And I need a button, and I have some. When you, oh, Steve, put the picture of the Garfunkel up so they know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, so I've done a lot of shopping on the internet, as you do when you use shopping as your stress reliever. Okay, so I've talked about it before, but I did join a monthly yarn club from Busy Peach, BZY Peach. I did get my March yarn. You guys, I love it. It's so bright and cheery. You guys, look at it. Peachy Yarn Club is what it's, the yarn club. It's at bzypeach.com. If you're interested, go check it out. This is 100% Tencel for sure. It's DK weight, 218 yards, and the colorway is Lucky Sunshine. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So that came, super stoked. But even more exciting than that, well, okay, there's a couple things that are more exciting than that, but that's still really exciting. That's not to be downplayed. We know I have a little bit of an addiction. Well, we know I have a lot of addictions. One of them is to dice. And, oh, cheesy Pete's. All right, so I'm a little addicted to Kickstarter. And I will leave the company name in the show notes. But I think it's just called Damaged Dice, damagedice.com. And I did their Kickstarter for Damaged Dice. What it is, okay, in D&D, in 5e, I'm going to talk about 5e. I don't want to talk about any other game systems because I don't want to speak out of turn. But in 5e, depending on the weapon that you're using, like if you're using a bow, your arrows do piercing damage. If you're using a warhammer, you're doing bludgeoning damage. If you're using some type of sword, it's probably slashing. So when you're using a weapon that has a particular damage type, you could be fighting a foe who is impervious to your damage type. So it can kind of be important in some instincts, in some instances, to know what type of damage you're dealing, right? So that's what damage dice are. So the first set, I don't even know how to show these properly. Oh my gosh. Oh. Da da da. Da da da. Okay, they come in a little cute bag. And I'm just going to grab the D20 here. Whoa. And it's a full set of dice, you guys. So there are, and I will read it off the back of the box. Okay, so this is the slashing damage type. So like if I'm using a short sword. Guild damage dice. Oh, it's Guild damage dice. That's the company, I think. Are sets of polyhedral dice specifically designed to add style and function to damage rolls. There are 2d4s, 4d6s, 2d8s, 2d10s, 2d12s, and 2d20s. This would be a d20. And the thing that's cool about that is if you are someone who dual wields, or like, let's say you have different weapons, it's good to have different sets of dice so that if you're actually dual wielding, you know what you're throwing in case your opponent is immune to the type of damage you're dealing. I don't know. In truth, I've never separated that out in terms of the physicality of die when I'm playing, but I went ahead and got the slashing. I got piercing because truth be told, my favorite characters are rangers and I love bows. So if I can shoot a bow at any given time, I'm going to. I got bludgeoning because who doesn't want to be a dwarf with a warhammer? Oh my God. Let's go. And then I got wild magic. And wild magic is basically your... I'm going to butcher this, but this is basically a set of... come out. It's a percentile... Sorry, I'm having trouble getting my hand where it needs to be. It's a percentile system that you have a table like that probably has 100 lines on it. And the 100 lines are different type, like a different thing that can happen with wild magic. So you would roll these die, these percentile dice, to figure out where you are from 1 to 100, and that would decide what's going to happen. So it could be like, if you're going through the table, like line 38 could be you grow hair out of your nostrils and your ears that you can braid. I don't know. So that's what these are. Or it could be, you know, 98. You roll a 98. 98 is that every time you speak, like flowers come out of your mouth, like something crazy. It's really, that's what this is for. So there's different tables, like when it comes to D&D, that you can roll on, either for different scenarios or different things that can happen to you, different mutations, like all sorts of different things. I love the idea of these dice. I will be honest, I don't know how much I'm going to use them, but we're going to find out. I'm going to try. I have Wild Behind the Witchlight that I need to do a one shot on, and we'll see. I love the idea of these. I think the other thing I really like about it is I think it's important to remember if you play D&D that your weapons do different types of damage. And it's important to remember that because sometimes it doesn't make sense that, you know, somebody with an arrow could go through like metal chainmail and all of that. Like piercing damage does not make sense in those circumstances. And I think early on in D&D, it's very easy to say we're not going to pay attention to that. But, you know, as you level up and as you play more and more, even though you're playing in a fantasy world, right? Understanding or grounding what you're doing in some type of reality is what makes it functional and real. So it's not, if you play D&D, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't play D&D, hopefully this piques your curiosity and you'll check it out because it's so much fun, guys. Get on board, do some cooperative storytelling, create some characters, and, you know, go ham. Go do it. Let's have at it. Like it's 1987 with James Spader. Can we just take a moment to talk about James Spader in the 80s and his glorious hair? Steve, I will have a photo for you. You guys, I'm sorry, James Spader was really friggin' hot in the 80s. And by the way, he has aged really well, as have we all, without the hair. And when I was watching Blacklist, he made a reference to his hair and I have lost it. I was like, I bet you half the people who are watching this show have no idea what reference he just made. But he had beautiful hair and he still has beautiful hair. He's a beautiful man. Okay, so I got the dice and repeat segment. Da, 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 da. Literature for your literature. Don't quit my day job. Okay, so I am reading Chicha, Assassin's Apprentice. I thought I would have it done by today. I do not. I made a commitment to try to read an hour a night. I'm doing really well with that, although this past week I only read for 4 nights. A lot of stuff has been going on, so I'm a little bit behind, but I have to tell you, this book has already made me cry. It's already made me cry. Anyone who's read it already knows why I'm crying. Smithy, that's all I'm going to say. Assholes. Okay, so anyway, I went ahead and got the second book, Royal Assassin, which obviously I have not even put a dent in, so I will. I really enjoy her writing. She's got a pretty sizable library, you guys, so I can't speak to anything else, any other series she's written. What I will tell you is I love her character development. I do think I need to give a little bit of slack because as I'm reading the first book, it's a little bit of a slog in certain areas, but I think that slog is to set up things to come. So I'm not going to call it slog yet until I'm into this. And if I still feel like it was slog, I'll let you know. But definitely worth picking up. If you like fantasy, have at it. Okay, so literature for your literature. I'm still having at it. We're moving forward. Now, in terms of monthly clubs that I joined, I don't think I ever told you guys about the other club I joined, which I love. Okay, so I forget his last name, and I'll put it in the show notes, but he's the Sexy Vegan. If you've never heard of him, just Google the Sexy Vegan. I love him. He has at least 2 books out. One is the Sexy Vegan Cookbook. The other is Cocktail Hour with the Sexy Vegan, I think is what it's called. I have both of them. He's just a good dude. And he has a vegan Pizzelle of the Month club you can join, which I joined. And It's once a month you get a bag of pizzelles. And so it's like, hello there, it's your pizzelle of the month from veganpizzelles.com. So there you go. Go to veganpizzelles.com. I will leave it in the show notes. And this month's is cream de menthe. I have not even opened it yet. Now, I really do wish, and Brian, if you're ever watching this, I don't think you will, but if you do, maybe use... I'm hoping this is like recycled something. Let's just hope that you're not buying that. And you're in California, so I doubt you are. So I'm pretty sure it's recycled. But here's the thing. How can you resist? Okay. Do you guys remember these? Okay, I'm so excited. I'm hungry too. Okay, these need to firm up a little bit from shipping. Oh, I just got powdered sugar all over me. Well worth it. Okay, so that's the other club I joined. I've gotten, there's a mocha one, was February. I think January was lemon something phenomenal. Have at it. Really good. Leave in the show notes. Okay, so you guys, that's been my 2 weeks. I've been eating a lot. I've been menopausal. I've been stressed out. But you know, these are all good problems to have, I guess. I'm alive. I get to do things that a lot of people don't get to do, and I'm thankful and appreciative of what I have. So I'm going to sit here. Where are my bunnies? Okay, Harvey's passed out right there. Nano's in the tunnel. Yeah. Everybody's passed out and tired. You know. Oh. Elden Ring. Good God, you guys. For my gaming girls out there, my gaming boys, and however you identify people. Elden Ring. I love it. I've died many times. Look at me go. Watch this. Oh man, I wasn't ready. I love it. Elden Ring is an online game? No. Yeah, because you can do multiplayer. Anyway, it's an open world. It's a huge world. It's using kind of like the Dark Souls engine, basically, if you've ever played Dark Souls. The mechanics are the same. You die just as much as you did in Dark Souls. I love it. And I will play it later today. And maybe what I'll try to do is use my studio and see if I can screen capture when I'm playing so you can see it. So much fun. So worth it. Get it. It's worth the money. That's all I'll say. So Elden Ring is the gaming thing of the day. There was a really great video that my husband sent me, and it's called The Boyfriend's Review of the Girlfriend Playing Elden Ring. And I think it's a couple, and typically I think the way that their podcast works is she reviews games that her boyfriend is playing. So it's the girlfriend review. Should you play yada, yada, yada? And she kind of just tells you by watching him whether you should play this game or not by his, I guess, frustration level. I don't know. Anyway, well worth very funny. So he basically, he was sent Elden Ring to play. And she, for the first time ever, was like, can I play it? And she, I guess, had never asked to play a game prior to him. And he couldn't say no. So obviously he let her play. So the video, and I will link it, is her playing and his reaction to her playing. And it's just so good because, you guys, she knits. And it resonated on so many levels with me on how she reacts to things. And my husband and I had actually had a conversation the day before he sent me the video about how people play games. And, you know, there's been a lot of instances recently of people who are streaming their gameplay, who are making money off their streams, and it turns out they've put in mods and they're cheating when they're playing, and they get busted. So they're making money off of like their dishonesty, which brings me to the point of like, if you're going to play a game, play the game. Why would you cheat? Like, I just don't even, like, the concept of that doesn't make any sense to me. And, you know, if it's these bros who are like, I can play Dark Souls without getting killed all the way through because you're cheating, well then what's the point? Half the fun of Dark Souls is you died. I mean, really. So Steve and I were talking about Elden Ring in particular, and how, you know, there's been a lot of like coverage in terms of Steam, in terms of like, you know, Reddit, and I'm going to forget the other, Twitch, of people, you know, playing the game and people saying, oh, it's really hard. And then people reacting to people saying it's hard, saying, oh, it's just not the game for you then. And it's like, you know what? Can we stop gatekeeping how people game? And I don't want to, and when I say that, I'm probably gatekeeping about the cheating thing, but cheating to me is a separate issue. Like, I think if you are making money off your stream, but you're making it because you're cheating and like lying about it, that I'm not okay with that. If you are going to install a mod and start your stream and go, okay, guys, I installed a mod where I can see things behind walls and kill them while they're behind a wall, then fine. You've let everybody know you've done it. And if they choose to follow you and act like you've actually beat the game, then, you know, bully for you. But I'm not down with that. So if you want to consider me gatekeeping on that, go right ahead. I'll wear that badge proudly. But I think what we were talking about, and what the boyfriend reviews the girlfriend playing Elden Ring was talking about, is like, yes, the game can be difficult, but it's difficult in terms of how you choose to play it. You know, you can play Elden Ring and you could head on try to beat a boss and die a gazillion times. You could also hop up on a rock that the boss can't reach and literally try to hit them with your magic spell and have to go do whatever 80 gazillion times. It may take you 5 years to beat that boss. You've still beaten that boss. If Elden Ring, if the game did not want you to play that way, you would not be able to play that way. It's not an exploit. It's a gameplay style, and it's absolutely valid. It's absolutely valid to go into Elden Ring in an open world and never fight a boss if you don't want to. It's however you want to play the game that brings you joy and makes you smile and makes you go, oh my God, I died again. You know, that's what you do. And I'm not here to tell someone a game isn't for them because they think it's hard. I think that is the most ridiculous conversation and gatekeeping type of thing to say to people, like, you're playing this wrong. I don't remember there being a right or wrong way. And if there was a right or wrong way, I don't need a friggin' 13-year-old telling me how to do it. It's like, no, you don't need to gatekeep. Let people have their fun. And Steve and I play Elden Ring drastically different from each other. I mean, completely different. He will level up super quick. It takes me forever to level up. We're both having the same amount of fun. I love it. He loves it. You don't have to play it the same way. There's different ways to play a game. So I guess my point in all this whole sidetrack is whatever you're doing, whether it's knitting, whether it's gaming, well, reading, you just kind of have to read, whatever it is, there are always more than one way to do it. And one way isn't better than another. One way isn't right. The other isn't wrong. It's just different ways of approaching things. And that different approach is what makes things unique. That's why my shawlography is going to be different than someone else's shawlography. That's why me playing Elden Ring is going to feel different than Steve playing Elden Ring. They're both absolutely 100% valid and good and fun and should be celebrated. So let's cease and desist. Oh, sorry, Steve. Let's cease and desist on telling people how to approach their hobbies, because approach it in the way that it feels natural to you. You know, it's kind of like riding the Peloton. If you're doing the Power Zone challenge on Peloton, it's no different than when Matt tells you, use the cadence that you're comfortable at, stay in your zone. It's the same thing. My cadence might be 92 that I'm comfortable at for zone 3, whereas someone else's cadence might be 65. We both end up in the same place. One is not better than the other. It's what comes naturally to you. So be true to yourself, be true to your beer, and drink it. Be true to your bunnies. Oh. You guys. Just be honest in what you're doing and love your hobbies. Love yourself. Love each other. Sheepless Needles, vegan podcast, not about being vegan, but about loving what you do and putting your heart in what you do and sharing it so that other people can be inspired. Go inspire other people in whatever way you can. And speaking of that, I almost forgot, and I'm just going to throw this in at the end. Vegan shout out, vegan boombox on the shoulders. I just want to give a shout out to Allie in Sweatpants. It's a new podcast. I think she maybe has 3 episodes, and it's literally what it says. It is Allie, and she is in sweatpants. And dudes, that girl knits, and she knits really well, and she uses a lot of vegan yarn. I mean, veganyarn.com, vegan yarn that I can't afford. Please check her out. I really love, she's very calm. She's, okay, if you ever need a break from my craziness, go watch Allie in Sweatpants because she's just super peaceful and super chill. And like she knits with her mom and they do socks. I really like her. Please go support her. Go check her out. That's it. Love each other. And I will see you guys in 2 weeks. And I don't know what I'm going to look like on the next podcast or what decade I'll be from. But shout out to 1987, Depeche Mode, 101. I'm trying to think what else I was listening to in 87. I don't even think it was 101. I think it was Black Celebration. Severed Heads, The Smiths, The Cure. Oh my God, I'm forgetting everybody. There were so many good bands back then. 87. Rock on, shout out, peace. I love all of you. Take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Toodles.